Hello, I'm Daniel, and welcome to the Emunah Project. We here at the Emunah Project are doing a series of videos on a variety of topics of benefit to returnees, Baalei Tshuva, returnees to Judaism, converts to Judaism, Gerim, and Noahides, Bnei Noach. On the subject of Tshuvah and the elements of Tshuvah, one of the first elements is to know, recognize, appreciate that what you are doing or what you are not doing is wrong. Because that's really the starting point. If you don't appreciate that what you're doing or what you're not doing is wrong, you can't really start off from there. Now, sometimes what you're doing or what you're not doing, you know it in a kind of an academic sense. Okay, it says in the Torah that I'm not supposed to do this. At first, you may not necessarily think it's all that big a deal. For example, there's a prohibition against wearing clothing of mixed fibers. You can't wear linen and wool, for example, mixed in the same garment. It's forbidden. If you have a garden, you're not supposed to plant certain crops together. You have to keep the crops separate. If you've got corn, if you've got beans, and especially if you've got grapes, they're very strict prohibitions. Know that if you're doing this, it's wrong. Now, it's contrary to the will of God. Now, at first, you may not be able to say why. I mean, like, well, okay, so I've got clothing that's got a mixture of wool and linen. So what? Does God really care if my pants have a wool and linen? Well, apparently he does, because he set out a commandment. Does God really care if I have a pork chop? Well, yes, if you're Jewish, he does care. Does God really care if I keep kosher, what animals I eat? Well, yes, he spends an entire chapter in Leviticus, chapter 11, I believe, going into great detail of what we're supposed to eat and what we're not supposed to eat. So you say, oh, does God really care if I'm having shrimp? Yeah, he kind of does. Know that it's wrong. It may be only on a cerebral level at first. You just know it, well, okay. But if you can get deeper, if you can appreciate why we're not supposed to do things, some things you can't. There's certain mitzvahs, certain commandments which are chukim. They don't have any apparent rhyme or reason to them. There's no obvious reason. For example, the commandment not to kill, not to steal. These rules make sense. Every society has them. No other society has a law saying you're supposed to wear tzitzis, fringes on the corners of your garments, throughout your generations. That at first doesn't make sense. Keeping kosher doesn't at first make sense. People say, oh, well, these are health regulations. It doesn't say they're health regulations. It says just don't do it. It doesn't say why. It says, I want you to be a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. But other than that, God is silent as to the why. Now, we can extrapolate. We can try and find meaning them, but at the pshat level, at the plain black and white text level, God will tell us what to do. He almost never tells us why. So in the process of Tshuvah, when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, bacon double cheeseburgers, and we've spoken before about cardiac Jews, cardiac Noahides. Oh, I have a bacon double cheeseburger over here, but I keep the mitzvahs in my heart. I keep the commandments in my heart. No, you can't keep kosher in your heart. You can't refrain from certain actions in your heart. You have to do it in the physical world. Appreciate that what you're doing is contrary to the will of God. Don't even think in terms of right and wrong, because that kind of moral equivalence, it's a little too cloudy. But just say, this is consistent with the will of God. This is consistent with the life that Hashem wants for me, and this is inconsistent with what God expects from me as a good person, whether it's a Jew or a Noahide. know that what you're doing is wrong. There are other elements, of course, the next element will be to stop it. But unless you fully appreciate that what you're doing is improper, or what you're not doing is improper, you're not really going to get much past that. Know that what you're doing is improper, and that will give you the impetus to go on to the other elements. We're going to be doing more videos along these lines. Please come back. Please watch. Please learn. I hope you're appreciating it. And until next time, on behalf of the Emunah Project, I'm Daniel, and thank you too much.